All right, so
Fair play award. What the
there's a
hell?
lot to get into in the NFL. You got Matt Stafford apparently finally won out of Detroit. Deshaun Watson looks like he's leaving Houston. But let's start with championship weekend. AFC, you got the Bills versus the Chiefs with a banged up Patrick Mahomes. He's coming off a concussion.
Man
Well,
came
he
out the
just quit.
concussion. It was a
He clears
miracle, huh?
the
It
he
was a
clears
miracle.
the concussion protocol, and he got a bad foot slash toe, whatever he got going on. Uh, Greg, who you got and why?
I mean, ooh, starting off, who we got? I want to take the Bills, man. I want to take the
Hmm.
Bills. They riding high. They ain't been to the Super Bowl in forever. I mean, even though we know, when they get to the Super Bowl, they don't have the best luck. But
Left,
uh,
right, left, right.
I think I think that Mahomes, like I said, man, it's like a miracle, and it was crazy because I think right after the game, his wife came out and said, "Oh, he don't have a concussion." Like, man, who made her a medical doctor? And then we start going through concussion protocols and all these tests, and you
See,
know,
that way you feel that right there, Greg. He ain't married. See?
oh, it's fiance, should I say?
Well, I'm
It's
just saying, you said his wife, he ain't married. So you already done got scammed.
well, you know what I meant, but
I didn't. I know what you said. That's all I know.
nah, but I mean, the Bills defensively, I think they can, cause a few little problems, for Kansas City, and I mean, your
So
boy Josh, your boy
you
Josh
have faith
Allen,
in. So you have faith. You all in on Josh Allen.
he been proving me wrong all season.
You better go
I
look at the
wasn't a
stats for
fan.
last game.
I
I'm
wasn't a fan.
all in on Josh Allen.
You better go look at the stats for last game.
Listen, one game don't tell me nothing.
Hey, you'll lie. You right. You right.
For
You better
me,
go
it don't
look
tell
at it.
me nothing. I
Do
mean,
you
you
know?
can give me a
Do you
hint
know?
what's gonna happen, but if you got a bunch of good games before, then you have one good game. Listen, I just tell them, hey, even a broken clock is right at least 2 times a day.
You know they ran like two rushing attempts the whole first half of that last week,
Yeah.
and they didn't like their first one wasn't until like 12 minutes left in the second quarter,
Greg, I can't believe you picked Buffalo though.
Why not?
and they had 3 points at halftime.
Hey,
But anyway, who you got, LJ?
Man, I'm taking Kansas City.
Oh,
Point
so
blank period. And I've been riding and I've been tooting the horn of Josh Allen all season. Been tooting the horn. I mean, Kansas City,
this
they
sounds
didn't
like an
really
emotional pick.
they didn't really play all that well offensively last week. And I'm trying to I don't feel like they played all that well offensively the last few weeks. I mean, not counting the last week of the regular season because
They
Mahomes
didn't
didn't
play.
play, and I don't
Yeah.
know who else didn't play, but they haven't really just been lighting it up. And
Mhm.
I'm thinking this week, I'm picking them. I'm picking Kansas City. I'm riding with Mahomes 2 straight. Injuries, no injuries, it don't matter. Little cortisone shot, and he won't know he injured until the game is over.
Mhm.
As
I
long
got
as
a
he,
little,
Mud.
it's a little Texas Tech bias going on. I forget about
I
that.
hey,
said it was an
listen,
emotional pick.
this ain't emotion. It ain't emotion at all. I've been riding with Kansas City all year. I think they don't have the greatest defense, but their defense is good enough to where they get you stops. I don't want to say they always get you stops when they need it. And I'm riding with Patrick Mahomes. And I think the one thing that they have going for them that that 99% of the teams in football don't have going for them is that their head coach does not stick to conventional football wisdom. You know, 4 minutes left in the game, you up by a touchdown. Most teams would just try to run the
40-minute
ball three
offense.
times and hope they get a first down. If they don't, they're gonna play field position and try to make you drive the length of the field. Whereas Andy Reid saying, listen, we playing to win. We gonna get a first down. I got one of the maybe potentially, if he keeps on his trajectory, or he don't even have to get better, really.
Yeah, he
If he
just
just
stayed the same.
continues to play like this the rest of his career, Patrick Mahomes will be the best quarterback ever. If he just continues to play like he has been the rest of his career, he'll be the best quarterback ever. He don't even have to get better, which he probably will because he's only his second year. My memories, I could be wrong. Second year as a full-time starter. I think this is second year. Is his third year? Okay, his third year as a full-time starter, right? So, oh yeah, you're right, because he won the MVP then last year, then this year. So, I mean, history tells us that he probably will continue to get better. Anyways, I think that's an advantage. Um, I'm going with Kansas City. I think they're gonna finally have a big game where they score a lot of points offensively. We see that explosive offense. Yeah. And I don't really want to say nothing bad about Josh Allen because y'all know I've been tooting his horn all season, so I ain't gonna say nothing bad about him right here because I don't want to wish him no bad luck. But I think he gonna give Kansas City a few today.
That
Diggs will have a good game.
Rookie running back being banged up. Y'all don't care about that? They don't
run the ball,
Listen,
so why do it matter?
I care about Patrick Mahomes. That's it.
Oh,
Long
you
as
talking about Kansas
Mahomes
City?
playing, they winning.
You talking
Who?
about Kansas City? You talking about Clyde Edwards-Helaire?
He playing today, but I don't care. Hell, he
Man,
ain't done. He had
yeah,
a couple good games early, and then
Greg, he ain't even on nobody's fantasy team.
they don't mean nothing. Listen,
I know, but nah, I'm rolling with the Chiefs.
I thought you were just talking about emotional pick. Why you ain't pick Buffalo?
Because Stephon Diggs is over there, and I don't want him to have all this great success.
Oh, so you really got the emotional pick. Ain't no emotion over here. We got a little bit of loyalty and a whole lot of logic.
Nah, I actually think Kansas City is just a better team. And I'm not gonna bet against Patrick Mahomes. 100%, 50%, it don't really matter. I think they'll be able to create some pressure on Josh Allen, make him more of a make him run more than they probably want him to, not let those big plays happen to Stephon Diggs or is it John Brown? That's what else they got over there. But I think Josh Allen have probably two turnovers today, and I think that'll be the difference.
I mean, Honey Badger is known for making plays, so I wouldn't be surprised if he.
They got a nice little D line too. You got Chris Jones, D Ford. You know what I'm saying? They got a nice little.
I'm still going with the Bills though.
And they got a Cowboys player, Anthony Hitchens. Hey, why every time somebody leave Cowboys they get better?
Oh.
Hey, y'all was mad at Jet T, and then all of a sudden he was balling in Oakland. Y'all thought he was the problem. Jeff Heath.
Safety.
He's sorry, man. Get out of here.
Hey, he was playing good at Oakland.
Yeah, and Oakland been at home since about a month. Everybody thought they was good at the beginning of the season, and then Jeff Heath showed up. Hey, how did I do?
So let's switch gears a little bit. Talk about the NBA.
Now you gonna pick the other game?
No, we'll get to it.
Oh, okay.
2 hours, brother. Let's talk about the newly formed Brooklyn Nets. They've been together for what, about a week now? Almost a week. When was Kyrie's first game? Tuesday?
Kyrie was on leave for so long. I thought the season hadn't started yet.
So I guess Kyrie has been back for 3 games.
Yeah,
correct. 3 games, and they've played together twice.
Yeah.
Kevin Durant sat down once.
Yeah.
How do they look to y'all so far?
I'm gonna hit you with that Danny Green. They all who we thought they were. I mean, they showing right now that they pretty much, once they made that trade for James Harden, for me right now in these first couple games, I think just in terms of in totality, I think they are what I probably thought they would be, at least right off the bat. They're gonna score. They're gonna score a bunch of points. Because you have 3 guys that are really good individually. And I wouldn't call James Harden necessarily a knockdown 3-point shooter, but he's a good enough 3-point shooter. I would consider Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving knockdown 3-point shooters. I think they're both, Durant's might be a little bit north of 40, but if not, they're both right around that 40% mark for their career from behind the 3-point line. And we all know, like I said, we all know what they can do individually with the ball in their hands. So I think in terms of scoring the ball, I don't think you're seeing anything what did you see anything less than what probably could be expected. Defensively, I think they have been as bad as you probably could expect. Harden's never really been known to really play much defense. Nobody's ever said Kyrie Irving was a good defensive player. So you have those two guys in your starting lineup, and Durant was a pretty good defender, before
in Golden State.
before
'Cause I
he
don't think
before he was injured.
I don't think nobody in Oklahoma City thought Durant was a
Yeah,
good defender.
he ain't fit. He's not a
Bad
lockdown
though.
defender.
He wasn't a bad
But and then Jeff Green was in the starting lineup for 2 of those 3 games. He's never been like nobody's ever written home about his defensive play. And then DeAndre Jordan is solid, but he's older. He's not as good of a rim protector, as he once was in his younger days. So I don't think the defensive struggles are any surprise. The only really surprise to me has been the I don't know if lack of offensive production is the right word, but the limited amount of offensive production from James Harden in the 3 games that he's played with Kyrie Irving. I mean, obviously 2 of those were with Durant, but that's kind of been the biggest surprise to me, and the lack of field goal attempts from him. I think going into it, I kind of just assumed in my head that the guy who would have to take a backseat offensively would have been Kyrie Irving. And I guess either that's their game plan or Kyrie Irving don't really care. He's going to do what he do.
I think that is their game plan. I think part of it is, because James Harden is the new guy to this situation.
They all knew, Greg.
What I mean, what I'm saying, Durant was on the team last season, so was Kyrie, even though Durant didn't play. So he's the new wheel. And also too,
Let me ask you a question, Greg, before you finish your point.
yeah.
Wouldn't, if James Harden is the new will, wouldn't you think they'd be like, okay, let's make him comfortable. Let's get him going.
The reason why, because of his reputation and where he came from, with being selfish, you know what I'm saying? Being a ball hog, being this and that. I think that, he's probably one that probably listens to what goes on the outside on social media and stuff like that. And I think it's probably purposeful of him trying to scale back his game and trying to.
So, Greg, let me ask you a question. So James Harden was in Houston for 8 years, is that right? Or
something like that.
Something like that. Led the NBA in scoring, I think, 4 times. So you saying this offseason, just now, the first time he ever heard somebody say he a ball hog, and then he just that don't even make sense, Greg, is what I'm trying to tell you.
No, it's not necessarily, like I said.
You just said he heard it, now he want to pass, or he want to play. What he do? The other 8 years he was tone deaf.
It's a little different because, and of course, I'm not in the locker room, but I live in Houston. You hear what people say about James Harden just as an individual and as a person.
Yeah.
And in the locker room, like, he was a cancer, bro. Like,
yeah, I guess. Can I ask you a question?
Well, yeah, go ahead.
What source you got in Houston? Because I live in Dallas and I don't be hearing shit about Luka.
Yeah, talk to
because you got them hater hearing aids turned on.
I mean, when the season first started, of course, him coming in late, wanting to get traded, being a malcontent, and when Boogie and John Wall, kind of took offense to that, things kind of rose to the surface. A lot of folks started, within the organization, and you can see it even in the media that weren't saying things before, started talking about, but James always had his way. He was always coming late. They always made concessions for him. They always did this and that. So I think that, he kind of wants to rid himself a bit of that reputation, kind of be more of a team player. So I think his scale back role, I think is purposeful. And also too, I think it kind of suits him. Like I said before, I look at James Harden as a playmaker. He's a good ball handler. He's a good passer, a good facilitator. He has that in his game. I actually like it better. But as far as your original question and how they look, I mean, they played 2 games against the Cavs and 1 game against Miami without Jimmy Butler. And Miami has not been good this year, So I don't know. I would like to see them maybe against, Boston,
Well, you had like they 3-0, but you was acting like they 3-0 against them teams.
I'm just saying, like, it's still very early. Like with anything, you gotta kind of go through some stuff. kind of have some strife, some struggles to kind of figure out who you are.
No, you don't.
I think you do. I think you do.
You don't.
But they have not gone through anything yet for us to even know, what this team really is about. To me,
I will agree with you on that 100%. I mean, always every time Curtis jump in and start hating on Luka at the beginning, I'm like, it's 3 games.
right.
It's 3 games. Oh, Luka's averaging 10 points. I'm like, it's 3 games. Relax. But I agree with you 100%. It's only 3 games,
I'll say this about cursed boy Kyrie, man. What year is this for Kyrie? Is this year 9? How long you been in the NBA?
I don't know. I look
it up. He came in 2013. I don't know why that's in my head, but I think that's the year he came in.
But what I'm getting at is Kyrie. He kind of is what he is, man. When we were talking on a thread, and I was tripping at you with your different comparisons and stuff.
So I think I'm talking about player to player. I'm just strictly saying the third best player, bro. Good gracious.
I get you. I got you. I understood that. But
2011.
2011
yeah.
in the Premier League. So
yeah.
Kind of is what he is. So like I said last week, I think it was last week, Kyrie does not make the other players around him better. He is a gifted offensive player that can really get his shot like anytime. Like if they had a game of horse championship, I would pick Kyrie Irving. Dude makes all kind of trick shots. He's a great ball handler. To me, he's the closest thing to Isaiah Thomas. You know what I'm saying? As far as just ball handling, shot making, all that. But the difference is, at some point in his career, Isaiah Thomas scaled back a little bit because he understood, man, I can get mine anytime. But I got to get Joe off. I got to get Vinny Johnson off. Lambeer got to get his. Kyrie has never done that. You know what I'm saying? And now we 10 years in the game, he's probably never going to do that. So
what are you talking about?
What I'm talking about,
gave us a 10-minute monologue. You ain't said nothing.
What I'm talking about is, in order for it to work, everybody is going to have to scale back a little bit, and everybody's going to have to make sacrifices. But I don't necessarily see that with Kyrie Irving, him making a sacrifice in order for it to work. It's still early, still very early. He's come in and shot the ball like crazy since he came in. You know what I'm saying?
He's been doing that since the first game of this season. He been unloading. He missed 50 games last year. He trying to make up for lost time.
I like to see it. Like I said, I'm anxious to see, the Philadelphia matchup, the Milwaukee matchup, some of those games.
Give me about 15 games and let them get in some of those big games that Greg are talking about. Those real big nationally televised games where you're playing against some really good teams and you're not walking in saying, all right, we're playing Cleveland tonight. Nothing against Cleveland, but contrary to what is it? Was it Antoine Carr? Or what's it?
Austin Carr.
Austin Carr said, you ain't putting nobody's expecting anything from Cleveland. I don't care what you say, Austin Carr. You ain't putting the league on notice for nothing. Unless you're trying to say, hey, NBA, y'all really need to pay attention to that young boy with that wild hair out there in Cleveland. Then, okay, I got it. Call it
Cleveland might make the playoffs, though.
On 2, you got a 2K lead?
Bro, I'm just, how many games do you need before we start, you know what I'm saying, giving them their credit? They above 500.
Well, I don't follow them, but Austin Carr was saying they had a lot of injuries early in the season, and now everybody is healthy, so that's why
they're 7. I mean, I gotta assume that at some point, my thought is at some point Toronto would start playing like they belong in the playoffs. So would Orlando.
I don't know, man.
So, I mean, really,
Orlando got injured.
They got 6 wins versus 8.
I got more faith in Orlando turning the corner than I do Toronto.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, you might be right, but I mean, you got to think if history tells us anything, that the 8th seed in the West, I mean, the East probably gonna win what 30 some odd games. You know what I'm saying? 30 some odd games.
So
It might not even be 30 this year. It might be 20 something because they're only playing 72 games. It might not even be 30 something this year. It might not even be low 30. Somebody might get in the playoffs and only won 25 games. And then you got to think they got that playoff. They're keeping that playoff thing in too. And I don't think you get Cleveland, Atlanta, New York. Well, it would be New York. Listen, even the Bulls is 79.
Bulls looking
The
all
Bulls
right.
got a nice squad.
They're looking all right.
Bulls don't have a nice squad. They still
The
the Bulls.
They have some nice players.
What was
They
the
do.
Carter doing?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I ain't really watched.
They
They
took
got-
my Chicago sports thing away, man. Out where I got the league pass. I still don't. I'm not watching the Bulls. I'm sorry.
I know they were getting black. They played the Lakers last night, and they were down 66-33 at halftime.
See who they play.
Not even watch.
But
I have to watch some of that.
Lakers got the bull job, and then it was a close game throughout.
Who won that Nuggets and Suns game?
Last night. I don't
Yeah,
know.
Nuggets.
I didn't see.
The Nuggets.
Nuggets.
I believe the
What
Nuggets.
is wrong
won
with them?
overtime.
For the Nuggets.
Yeah.
Nothing. It seems like all the teams except for like the little bit the kind of the older teams, if you will, more veteran teams that played long into the bubble are kind of struggling right now.
Right.
You know what? Ask you something. What's going on with the Clippers? Like, I think they have a good record, and what I mean by that is, it seems like nobody's talking about them this season at all.
Because Paul George, he shut up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He ain't out there telling you this and that. I mean, I don't know. They came in with so much fanfare last year. They was the kings of LA and all this. humbling that, that will do that to you.
I think some of it is too is that like because I don't want to say because they I think in the media's mind, Doc is gone. They got rid of Montrezl Harrell. Their roster changed up a little bit.
Yeah.
I just don't think the coolness factor or the it factor is there this year, and a lot of the pressure is probably gone off of them in terms of like them being in the media spotlight day in, day out, like every single little thing that they do. Like, well, Kawhi ain't gonna play today. Paul George ain't gonna play today. All that kind of stuff. And the other thing is, they're healthy this year in terms of their two-star players. You got to remember Paul George came into the season last year off of 2 shoulder surgeries. I want to say he missed like somewhere between the first 10, 15 games.
Yeah, he missed a lot.
Somewhere around there. He missed quite a few games early. So and as I said at the beginning of the season, me personally, I think this roster is better constructed. Maybe not as you can argue is less talented, whatever. But I think this roster is better crafted as a team, and the pieces fit better, in my opinion.
Okay. I don't know. I just thought it was weird that we ain't really heard their names like we would, like Dre said.
No news is good news. You know what I'm saying? No news is good news.
The Oladipo report.
Yeah,
averaging about 22 a game.
He just picked up where he left off in Indiana. He was averaging right around what Greg just said in Indiana. He was just kind of fading from the spotlight out here because of what they was reporting in the Indianapolis paper after the bubble ended about him. I want to say they reported that he was like talking to other players about going to their team, something like that. So he had kind of worn out his welcome a little bit, and like the focus in terms of the media and I think fans had kind of shifted from him and kind of turned towards Brogdon and Sabonis.
Gotcha. I was gonna ask you something.
They're gonna have to put some respect on Philly. He said he had to pick up a dishwasher.
Tree. Sound like the shade tree mechanic.
First of all, dishwashers are heavy. That's what I do though. Dishwashers are heavy.
Oh
anyway,
man. Anyway, Greg, what's going on in the political world?
I mean, we got a new president. You know what I'm saying? Got a new
I think
president.
everybody know that part.
President. I mean, the inauguration seemed like it went off without too many problems.
What you thought Trump was gonna show up?
Nah. I mean, I knew he was gonna leave like a thief in the night.
Hey,
He literally did. You know?
did they like you know how they usually show the president leaving the White House, getting on the helicopter, waving, blah blah blah. Blah. They showed him doing that.
Yeah, but it was
Yeah.
so early. Yeah, they did. It
Oh,
was so early. You know what I'm saying? So it
hey,
probably
they
was like
treated
probably was like 7 o'clock our time. You know what I'm
they
saying?
treated Trump like they treated my high school graduating class. Boy, they told us to go home 2 weeks early and don't show back up to graduation night.
Nah, I think that was his. That's how he wanted to do it.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
He wanted to go out the back door. Ain't nothing wrong with it. I mean, you know,
Trump playing low because he got the impeachment trial coming up. You know what I'm saying? He not out the woods yet. He got the impeachment trial coming up, and then after that, the criminal trials and investigations and stuff will start rolling.
So I do want to talk about. Hopefully y'all can feel me in a little bit better. But apparently Biden has signed some law regarding transgender women, like transgenders playing sports.
He signed
What'd you say, Greg?
Saw that. Now I say he signed a lot of executive orders, but I did see that. I didn't get all the specifics of it. But it was something about co-eds and
let me see. Y'all go ahead. I'm gonna try to find it.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, but I don't really know the specifics of it, but I do know it ruffled a lot of feathers, a lot of questions about it. I don't like. Did that need to be really? I'm not trying to be insensitive to anybody.
I'll go ahead on.
But
buddy.
Did that really need to be carried out by executive order? Was that something that needed to be done? Boom, first 100 days, let's get this done.
Brother, his what's somebody in his cabinet somewhere is
transgender. Yeah, they just made it. So he like they. I'm gonna just say they. They are probably they are they are probably in his ear about that. So speaking of the he, she, his, her, they said they're trying to like take those
the disrespect.
No, listen, let me finish. You don't even know what I'm talking about yet. Like those words, they said they're trying to take those words out. Like
I'm
identifying somebody by he, she, his, her.
Confused as you explaining it, man.
Let me tell y'all something out there, America. I'm him. When they do that, don't take mine. I'm him. I'm he. I'm his. I'm not they. I'm not we. I'm not us. I'm not. You don't need to blur the line for me. Now, for other people, if I can't tell somebody else what they want to be addressed as, I'm not gonna even try. But I'm gonna tell you, as for me,
right?
I'm him. I'm his. I'm Mister. You ain't gotta try to figure. You ain't listen. Oh, and what he signed up was, if I'm reading, if this is accurate, is I guess allowing them to compete in the sport of
their choice, I guess. So I guess if you identify as a woman, but you're born a man, you can play women's sports and vice versa.
Yeah.
Apparently, I haven't been inside Target in a while. If I do order something from Target, it's like order pickup, so I don't go inside.
Yeah.
But apparently, I guess somebody was telling me this at work yesterday, so I don't know how true this is. I guess they have cross-gender bathrooms. I don't even know what the right word would be.
Listen, I don't even know why people call them cross-gender bathrooms. Whatever the correct terminology is.
Why should this be unisex bathrooms?
They've been having unisex bathrooms for forever.
Forever, yeah, they have.
Just make them feel better. Say, first of all, transgender people, let me just tell you, you don't need your own restroom. I don't give a damn how you feel. You don't need your own restroom. You use the restroom with everybody else. You don't need your own damn restroom. Listen, that's discriminatory anyway. Remember, black people, we was mad. if they had a fellas only restroom,
That is true.
you don't deserve your own damn restroom. Use the restroom with everybody else.
Hey, I don't this territory that I don't even know about.
Man, you ain't
Somebody-
listen. Don't
hey,
be afraid, brother.
I
somebody
just
afraid.
don't understand.
Somebody came up to me yesterday. Well, one of my workers that came up to me yesterday. It was like, so how would you feel if your son was in the bathroom and a grown woman walked in there and tried to do something to him? I said, first of all, I said, my son, folk, he ain't going in the bathroom by himself anyway. Secondly, by the time he's old enough to go in the bathroom by himself, he'll be a black belt. So I ain't worried about nobody touching him. He'll be able to handle himself by then.
I don't even know why people care about that. Like
But
most people,
you gotta be careful with that though, because like you don't want it to come off and them kind of questions. It's like, well, you know what I'm saying? What if your son goes to the bathroom and a grown woman come in and try to touch him? Well, she's a pedophile. You know what I'm saying? That's you know what I'm saying? That's what
transgender people.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, nothing to do with transgender people. Listen, I'm gonna tell you like this here. I don't even think that's a valid question because it's people that are not transsexuals that like the same sex that they're born into. Right. So it could be a gay male using the same restroom as males. And he, there's no difference. I mean, let me not say there's no difference. I don't know the difference because I am neither gay nor am I transsexual. So I can't tell you the difference between a transsexual male that has gone from female to male and a gay male. I don't know the difference. I'm not going to try to explain it. I'm not going to try to figure it out. That's for whoever identifies as that. As long as they know, that's all that matters. But I don't think the question is valid because only thing that's going to shock you is the eyes. Like, oh my God, that's a woman in a man's restroom. But what's the difference between the dude that's standing right next to you that's gay?
Nothing.
It ain't no different. But it's just a shock to the eye to say there's a woman in the man's restroom.
And you ought to
use the
restroom to relieve yourself and get up out of there.
Yeah, listen, as long as you're doing what you got to do, it don't matter. Yeah. If you a creep, it don't matter if you transgender or you straight, or you a male in the female restroom or a male in the male restroom. If you a creep, you a creep. I don't think it's I don't personally, off the top of my head, I don't know anybody that's transgender, but I'm just going to assume that most transgender people are not walking into the restroom of the sex that they're not born into to like look at people using the restroom. They probably doing what the overwhelming majority of people when they go in the restroom are doing. Public restrooms are for the most part nasty. Nobody don't really want to use them unless they have to. You want to go in there, use the daggum restroom, and get the hell out. You ain't going there to have no damn peep show. That's most people. It's some people out there, whether you straight or not. It's some people that are, pedophiles and peeping toms and all of that. That ain't none of that got nothing to do with being transgender or not. Because a lot of those people that are in jail right now don't identify as transgender or transsexual, whatever the right term is. They just, peep show people or whatever, and they do it. But most of the people just want to go to the restroom, use that nasty motherfucker, and go on about their business.
Like I said, it's interesting that he would. When I say he, I'm talking about President Biden. Signing.
Oh, so now you want to address our president as President Biden? Okay.
Okay.
Last week you was talking about 45. And,
I ain't never used that.
Go ahead and get me a slang bag.
I ain't never used that. But I mean, I just think it's interesting that he would have that. Obviously, somebody was in his ear to say that this is an important, situational issue that needs to be addressed. When you look at it, as far as how it played out in the end, it was like black people coming to say today, with the presidency and with George, the black turnout was big. That was a big thing. That was a big issue.
With the president, black people make it a big issue. You should listen. I'm tired of giving people credit for stuff they're supposed to do.
Every single news station that I was watching, they were talking about that. And so
no. I understand what you're saying, that they making a big deal out of it. What I'm saying is that's like a participation trophy. It's like perfect attendance. Well, you was at school every day, but he was the worst student.
Right.
What I'm saying is, it should not be. They don't ever talk about a huge white vote. You know why? Because white people vote.
Right.
You should vote.
Right.
So what I'm saying is, black people got to stop being like, oh, we got a huge voter turnout for blacks. Like, listen, brother, you should vote in every election.
Right. No, I agree with that. But I'm saying,
I'm criticizing you because we got a huge voter turnout. Because I'm gonna ask you why the hell you ain't been voting. But that's neither here nor there.
But the thing is, and it's like, now, so what is the administration going to do to address black people?
Nothing. Because black people ain't trying to help black people.
I don't know, but I won't take it that far.
I'm gonna take it that far. Listen,
I
got
a PSA. If your husband or wife don't love you like George W. Bush loved Michelle Obama, I need to get a divorce.
Listen, time out. Don't sprinkle on my Bubba Rock like that. You know what I'm saying? Don't sprinkle on. And I like George W. Bush too, but that dude was funny. He was funny when he was the president. But, I mean, listen, black people don't want to be helped, man. They just want to talk about being helped. It's too many. I ain't gonna say all black people, but a lot of black people, they don't want to be helped. They just want to talk about being helped. And you can't do nothing for black people. I mean, you gotta, if you break them down.
What do black people need, Greg?
Who you can help? Yeah, he's gonna help black people.
What about the black representative? I can't speak for all the black people.
No, I
think some of the main issues are, at least in my eyes, is the wealth gap. That's a big one.
Listen, take your ass to work.
It's way deeper than that. It's way deeper.
Okay, well, listen, hold on. Okay, so yes, I agree it's different and is deeper than that, right? But how many black people do you see discouraging black people from going to college? You see it man, you don't get nothing out of college. You know how many black people walk around and say, you don't need no college education to be rich? Okay, that is 100% true. Listen, you around educated people.
Maybe, yeah,
I'm from the ghetto. I've been around a lot of ghetto people all my life. I didn't grow up in the suburb, and I hear it all the time. I see it on Facebook. You don't need college to be wealthy or to get money or whatever. That's true. But when you talk about closing the wealth gap, like you have outliers. You're gonna have people that they don't need college education, and they're gonna get it. And you're gonna have people that, regardless of what you do for them, they ain't gonna get it. They go to college education, they might be born into wealth, and they still ain't gonna get it. But that group, the majority of the people, the best way for you to go from poverty or for you to change the outcome, to change the trajectory of your family in the future, is to get a college education, and then you build from there. But you got too many black people that, everybody don't need to go to college and did that. Okay, well, listen, you stay your poor ass over there. and you keep waiting for the government to bail you out because your poor ass think everybody don't need to go to college or more, because you know one dude or two dudes, for every two people that you could probably name that didn't go to college and that's wealthy, there's probably, I would guess, 80,000 people who went to college, and that's the source of them being able to, prop themselves up in terms of finances.
Also, too, you got education affordability.
What does that mean?
Education is rising, man. It's expensive to go to college.
What does that have to do? You can't take out student loans no more?
And then you got to incur debt. You bring me to my next.
Listen, Greg. See, you one of them people. You making excuses. If you want to go to college, you're gonna have to incur debt. How many white people you think go to college and incur debt? A lot. Not all of them.
Not as many as black folks.
Well, hell, that's okay. Who fault is that? Either you want to get out of poverty or you don't. Because if you don't, then if you want to get out, you're gonna figure a way out. If not, we're gonna get what you keep doing and say, well, the cost of education is rising. The politicians got to do something. Listen, go to college, work your way through college. You don't have to take out student loans, but you know why people don't want to work their way through college? Because that's hard. You take commitment. You lose a little bit of sleep. You be tired. And that's hard to do. But it's easy to say, well, why don't you give me something to make it easier for me? No, listen. Sometimes that happens. Yes, people give you something. But if you want something, you got to figure out how to go and get it. You don't make excuses on, well, if they gave me this, it'll be easy. Okay, well, listen, if I woke up and I was a millionaire, I wouldn't have to go to work. But I ain't waking up and I ain't no, I woke up, I ain't no millionaire. So I got to take my ass to work if I want to live the way I want to live. Otherwise, listen, that's what I'm saying. Black people don't want nothing. They want you to hand them something. Because you talking about, well, the cost of education to rise. Okay, so what? What do they do when the cost of dope rise? They figure, listen, we just talking facts. The cost of dope rise, they figure out a way.
I can't paint my picture with a broad brush like that. I can't just
listen,
all black people.
Okay, well, you can't say all black people. I'm just talking about the black people from where I'm from. Listen, everybody who watching, I grew up in the ghetto. I grew up in Oak Cliff. I'm talking about the majority of those people from where I'm from. I ain't talking about everybody, even though I'm pretty sure we're gonna be able to run that across quite a few black people. And then why I say we can run across quite a few black people? Because how long have we been hearing the same excuses? Exactly. Not even exactly. I'm saying exactly. Well, not even exactly.
Let's see.
Popping it on the mouth. Let's
see if the new administration can address some of that stuff.
But listen,
boy. See, the first thing
can't change your mentality. Go ahead, man.
That's what I was just about to say. The first thing out of his mouth was saying, "Let's see how the government can help."
Yeah, you still asking for handouts, Greg?
They have a role, don't they?
No.
It starts here, bro. Here and here. That's where
the government don't have no role. Why do we have elected officials?
So they can lie to you and tell you they got a role, and then you upset when they don't deliver.
That's crazy.
I've been trying to tell you that. Listen, what role do you listen? I guess I understand what you're saying. So to a certain extent, do elected officials have a role? Sure, there are things that they can do. But what I'm saying, in my opinion, it doesn't matter what they do if the mind, like with Malcolm, if the mind and the heart don't change, it don't matter. Because it's not like, unless they're gonna just up and say, hey, college is free, okay, then you still gonna probably have to incur some student loan debt to go to college if your family cannot afford to pay for you to go, or you to go,
I guess,
or you don't get scholarships and stuff.
Man, this might be a terrible example, Greg, but I think this might be a terrible example. You say, what role should the government play? Let's say you have somebody on unemployment, right? And the government's like, okay, we're going to give you $700 a week to help you, somewhat stay on track, like give you the necessities that you need. But if that person has that mindset of, okay, shoot, they're gonna give me $700 a week. Why not? Why do I need to get up and go to work? I can just sit at home.
I think it needs to be checks and balances on that. I think they need to be checking in with them folks, seeing that you apply to any jobs this week. There should be
something. Brother, I can apply to 50,000 jobs, and they can all be jobs I don't qualify for, or it can be a job I get an interview for, and I'd be like, hey, I go in there straight up, tell them, look, I really ain't trying to work. I'm getting the $700 from the government.
And I think you need to go a step further. If you don't, and if that's the case, well, then you need to go to, job training. You know what I'm saying? You get skills for interviewing and stuff like that.
You need to.
I don't need no skill. I just told you I don't want to work because I'm getting that $700.
Well, then if you don't necessarily go through with the job skill training that you required to do, then your funds are cut off.
I can go to the classes, brother. How's it change my mindset?
You can only change my mindset. You can only game so much, man. I don't practice family law, but I see it in the child support course all the time. You don't pay your child support, they will lock you up, Jack, right?
That's true.
And for some folks come in there and say, man, well, I can't find a job. They have this in Harris County, have this thing called choices, where they give you job training and make you go, you got to actually do some things, because if you don't do them, you're going to jail.
But see, what you're talking about is different than the average user. The average person. You're talking about something that you're doing with the possibility of suffering penalties from the law when it based through child support. If
penalty is starvation. If you don't do it, you ain't getting the bread.
Brother, that ain't happening. Come on now. That ain't happening. Greg, you gotta get out the suburbs, man. You got to go to the people that this is happening to, brother. Listen, The government ain't got time. The government don't have time.
I don't want you to
people
characterize me as like I'm just born with a silver spoon. I know plenty of folks.
Ain't nobody said
If you ain't, listen, I'm gonna tell you right now, Greg. If you ain't come from the hood, I say whatever color spoon you got is different than the ones that I know growing up. You listen, I'm a ghetto child. Hey, listen, Greg, why you hold on, time out. Why you so upset about being from the suburbs, man?
I'm not saying I'm upset about
like,
it.
well, hold on now. You gotta give me some struggle.
Hey, let's talk about that. That's part of the problem with black people.
Why you so upset?
That's part because they don't want to be looked at as a sellout or less black or whatever the term you want to use.
Yeah, he getting up.
So they think, oh, I need to stay in the hood. That's where I gotta stay to be real. And Greg over here is saying that he had two parents in the house and had a big screen TV when he was 7 and had all the game systems.
I didn't know Greg had a nice crib.
But it took a while.
Greg's ashamed that he never had to eat government cheese.
It took a while for my mom to get that. I mean, we were middle class. You know what I'm saying? She paid for me to go to college.
I didn't say you was rich. I said you were ashamed that you never had to eat government cheese. You didn't have to eat no sugar sandwiches. That's all I said.
I seen my mom work graveyard shift in order for me to, go to Tyler Street.
She had the mindset that she needed. There you go.
Right.
Yeah.
What are we talking about?
Doing what she got to do.
But I got folks in my family, you know what I'm saying? Extended family that, went the other way and, talked about, some of the same stuff LJ talking about, kind of gaming the system and doing the get by,
Well, that's what they did. You didn't see what they were doing with them small business loans they was handing out at the beginning of the pandemic? Well, I ain't know so many people had a business. Everybody getting with $10,000 check.
I'm just telling you, man. They gotta change. You gotta change in the inner city. I can't really speak for the suburbs. I'm just telling you, if you go into the inner city, in the hood, in the black people hood, in my opinion, because every hood is a little bit different, but it's all the same at the end of the day. A lot of times the mentality is pretty much the same and from one hood to the next. Some might be more dangerous, blah, blah, blah. But it's the mindset. It's the mindset, man. It ain't nothing else. You can have all the government programs and all of that that you want. If people don't have the mindset, then it ain't gonna happen. Like, look at me. Like, I'm not saying I'm the most successful person in the world or nothing like that. But what is the difference between me and anybody who came from the same environment that I came from, that maybe ended up in prison or in jail? There ain't no difference. Our mindsets was just probably different. And I ain't knocking them. Listen, I got love for everybody that I knew in the hood that's still in the hood. I love the neighborhood that I'm from. Like I heard a friend of mine once say, I heard from a friend of mine once say that Tyler Street ain't do nothing for nobody in terms of the people that was from where we was from. Or Tyler Street wasn't a good school or whatever. And I'm like, well, listen, what's the difference between me and you? We both went to Tyler Street. Right. Same education, same teachers.
What they say?
Nothing. Because they can't say nothing. It ain't no difference. You know what I'm saying? It's just about, and I'm not saying that I made the best choices and none of that. Listen, I ain't saying I'm no better than nobody. I'm just telling you, it ain't always about the circumstances. Yeah. It's about what you want to accomplish, you know what I'm saying, in your mind. And if the government say everybody can go to college free, it's still gonna be a bunch of black people saying, listen, everybody can go to college. And then you're gonna always, y'all know. I see this dude on Facebook. You're gonna always have these conspiracy theory black folks out there that, listen, they just trying to trick you out your game, dog. They just want you to go to college so they can control your mind. Listen, these black folks, and then they'll post it on Facebook, and then they home be like, yeah, you right, dog. No, he ain't. He ain't right. You just as stupid as he is for believing. Oh yeah, man.
I mean, the people that spout that, like, have their position changed at all in life? Have they progressed and grown in any way?
It don't matter if you grew or not. It's a lot of, it's people out there get rich and in powerful positions in their organizations off of, spouting these conspiracy theories. Because I keep telling, I'm gonna stop rambling. I keep telling y'all, we got to stop giving people credit on intelligence based on age. We just keep assuming that as you get older, you get smarter. Y'all know y'all was in class with some stupid kids, and most of them just grow up, and as they get older, just become stupid adults. And as they get older, they just get more stupider and stuck in their opinion. They don't get smarter. A lot of them don't. You have some people that, after they fool around in high school or whatnot, elementary, and they never, and then at some point it just click for them and they get their life together, they start using their brain right. But a lot of them, they get older and they just stay stupid. It's just like people still think that Trump won the election. Again, just stay stupid.
Yeah.
Oh man, we said all
Man,
that.
you need to be a politician, man.
Quit looking for the government for help.
No, I don't.
You do, because you big at selling these lies out here in these streets. Not lies.
Great. So what? I think we had this conversation before. What should reparations look like for Black people?
Well, like I said, man, I'm all about this right here. So it's gotta be something tangible. If it's not gonna be a large sum of money, it's gotta be some kind of programs that put in place that give Black folks advantages to succeed. Whether it's through lending, whether it's through education, free education, stuff like that. That's a form.
Bro, why do you want to give somebody a loan you know they ain't gonna pay you back?
America do it all the time. They do it all the time.
To who?
They literally did it with the PPP, man. They have $10,000 grants that you do not have to pay back through the PPP program.
That's a grant. I said, why would they give you a loan?
You have to apply for the loan in order to.
It's a grant, though, brother. It's not a loan. A grant is something that's just given to you that you not have to pay back. You went to college.
There's a whole bunch of situations. Donald Trump is the crown prince, an example of giving something and not having to pay it back.
Please expand.
I mean, if you just look at his business career, all the loans the man done got, all the bankruptcy.
Filed for bankruptcy?
A gang of them. And what was he rewarded with? Becoming the president of the United States.
You shouldn't have voted for him.
But I mean, that's a really hard question to just answer like that, Malcolm. I think it's a bunch of things that can be implemented in order to, give a form of reparation. But I do think reparations are needed, man. I think we do. I think we owe that.
Boy, you seem antsy about this one. You over there bouncing and stuff. Calm down.
No, just that's my position. People can disagree with it. Y'all probably do. That's fine.
Well, y'all.
Both of y'all.
I honestly don't have no position on reparation. I don't even think about reparation. I don't have no position on it. I know we've discussed it a couple of times here and there, but I have never really, outside of our conversations, I've never really given any thought to reparations.
It's not something that consumes my mind or something that I bank on because, look, like I said, man, I came from single parent household, saw my mom struggle.
Middle class, drop that middle class in there.
I was born in Oak Cliff and lived in Oak Cliff for half of my raising. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, Greg, time out, Greg. You wasn't in the street. You wasn't outside though.
I lived in Wood Hollow. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, you lived in Wood Hollow, but you wasn't outside.
I learned how to ride a bicycle in Wood Hollow.
Greg, you wouldn't listen, Greg. If you was outside in Wood Hollow, I would know somebody who know you.
I walked home from Daniel Webster to Wood Hollow,
Greg, you weren't outside in Wood Hollow, man. Get out of here. Get out of here, Greg. We as many times we done drove to Wood Hollow picking up kids to play football. I ain't never seen you.
Man, we lived in Wood Hollow when it first opened. We lived in Wood Hollow.
So when you was like 2 or 3?
Nah, man, this was second grade. I was in second grade. It was second grade.
Man.
And Greg, tell them to put some respect on your gangster.
Greg want that street cred, man.
I'm not trying to get no kind of street cred, no kind of hood cred at all, because that stuff is only worth so much anyway. We just gonna keep
It ain't worth. Listen, street
It ain't worth
cred. Unless you
nothing.
sell it hood, it ain't worth nothing.
You
It
know
is
what I'm
worth
saying?
well, I mean, you can intimidate some people.
I mean, so my mentality more of is ain't nobody finna give you nothing. You got to go out there and you got to get it.
But
Period.
let's all be clear, man. Greg looked up to me. I showed him the way.
Now we definitely know that's not the case.
Greg became a teacher and a coach because of me. I showed him the way.
Sure,
Oh, you was a teacher and a coach. What the hell you coach?
basketball.
I showed him the way.
I still coach youth basketball.
Yeah, I showed him the way. He looked up to me. It's all right. It's all right. It's all great. You want to get a government credit, but you want to tell everybody he looked up to me. You want to tell me about black people, man?
Yeah.
If Curtis was on here, he'd be telling you how to take the black race down like he was last.
Hey, trying to oh shit! All right, let's get back into this the NFC Championship game, man. So we got the Packers versus the Buccaneers. LJ, who you got?
I don't even know who playing.
Green Bay and Tampa Bay.
He playing in Lambeau, huh?
Yeah, sure, the frozen tundra.
Man, you know what?
Check the
I'm gonna go with Tom Terrific, man. He was terrible last week, and people was talking about. I seen people was saying like in the media, oh, he was great. He was terrible.
Tim, not Tim, but Antonio Brown not playing this week. That don't matter.
I didn't know he played the weeks before that, brother. He ain't been doing nothing. You know what? That will be a situation like I told y'all with Cleveland. Sometimes you get addition by subtraction, not because Antonio Brown is not a good player, but you get to run your offense. You ain't got to say, well, I got to get him. 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 You just, you know what I'm saying? You can zoom in a little bit more. You can
just out
focus
there
on your
playing
two main
football
receivers. Yeah.
He seems
and
he
you know what I'm
seems
saying?
like he seems to like Godwin a lot.
I don't know.
Quite a bit.
Godwin dropped some passes last week, didn't
he? Got a lot of targets too. Seems like him a lot.
Anyway, I don't really have a good reason, man. But I'm taking I got Tampa Bay in an upset on the road in Lambeau. You know, normally they say that in the past, in years past, and Malcolm, you probably know this better than any of us. They used to say Tampa Bay can't play in cold weather. You can pretty much put an L up this time you're in Tampa Bay. In years past, when they had to go on the road, because the thing was always when you get under a certain temperature, I don't say never, but they rarely play well. But you got a little bit different here.
They the second game.
Tom Brady. That's what he's been doing for the last 20 years, playing in Foxborough. Same thing with Gronk. So I think I'm taking Tampa Bay. They got a black offensive coordinator too. Maybe I'll support black folks for once.
They whole coaching staff black except for Arians.
Great. Nice. So they tight ends coach, O-line coach.
Everybody, go look it up.
Running backs coach.
Everybody black. I'm serious.
Yeah, Bruce Arians is like that white rapper, man. He came in like Eminem with D12.
Yeah.
Could be true.
It's no snow falling, but they're gonna be. It's gonna be in the 20s. I get what you're saying about Brady and playing in that weather and all that, but I'm picking Green Bay for the exact reason why you started off. Brady was terrible last week. He barely got by. I don't think it's gonna be enough this week. And I mentioned Antonio Brown because Antonio Brown has at least played in the Super Bowl. A lot of these guys have never been to this stage. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we'll see how they perform.
You said it about Green Bay too.
How does that impact anything?
You said it about Green Bay too, brother.
They at home though, Malcolm.
See, that's like you just said. Black. The government need to give out all of these free colleges for black people who don't want to go to college.
I'm gonna go Green Bay, man. Aaron Rodgers has been on fire. This is why I wish they'd have started Jordan Love when they drafted him. Yeah, I was as a Viking fan, I know what Aaron Rodgers is capable of, probably too well. So uh, when he's on the road like this, man, it's hard to stop him. Seems like everything is clicking for him, like down to his cadence. You know how he get those free plays better than anybody. So when he and then now they have a run game. So if he is off a little bit, they can run the ball. Defense is playing better. Um, if they can, if they can get to Tom Brady, the Smith brothers, if they can get to Tom Brady, then I think they have a lot of success. Uh, but they're not that good in the run, and sometimes when Tampa Bay is committed, they can't run the ball. But I'm
No,
gonna go with Aaron Rodgers.
they got the first game, right? Because they play at two. Let's say 2:05. They play first.
I have no idea.
Yep.
It must be. It must be. Yeah, they play first. So I mean, they'll have. It'll be the sun will be out. It'll be in the 30s, so it won't be too bad. Weather won't be an issue. I'm still picking Green Bay though. I just don't think. I just never really bought into Tampa Bay. I mean, Drew Brees
I
won the game
feel,
in Tampa Bay last week, man.
and that could be some Tom Brady hate here, but I feel like
Wait,
Tom.
what you say?
Hold on,
Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead. Go ahead,
I
man.
said, I feel like the Buccaneers have caught a lot of breaks. But like I said, there could be some Tom Brady hate here going on. Like I'm just like, this always happen for him. But man, I feel like they're not that good of a football team. I don't know why. I just don't. It don't look like it to me. But
Hey,
hey, here they
listen.
are in the NFC Championship game.
At some point, you win enough games.
Yeah, I mean they won 13 games this year. Well, I mean,
Like it just seemed like they did not win 13 games.
no, I'll take that, but they won 11 during the regular season. 2 wins, in the postseason. But
I don't know, man. It's like I guess
Hey,
I'm just if you go back to the games, what's the one game that who's that blew the game? Chicago? Was it Chicago or Washington that blew the game that they should have lost to? Um
I think it was Washington. They took the playoff game, the first one.
nah, regular season. Um I don't know. I feel like Green Bay is clicking at a higher pace. I guess why you're taking Buffalo, I'm taking Green Bay. Then I hope they lose next week to Kansas City because I don't want the Packers to win the Super Bowl.
I had a question for y'all that wasn't related to sports. Might need to hold it.
Well, no, what's up?
Well, what's up?
And I really
You forgot.
always
That's what it
wanted to
was.
know this.
Oh,
I mean, I know the answer in my mind. What why do what I want to say it's something about like private school versus public school. I see some people that hate private schools and swear by public schools, and I know other people who I wouldn't
vice
say
versa.
no personally, but I've definitely heard of people who swear by private schools and wouldn't dare if they had to sleep outside sending their kids to a public school. I know Greg kind of wondering I'm hating private school kinds. I'm just curious.
You said what?
Hate private schools.
Nah, me? I don't hate private schools.
That was just something that was on my mind because I seen some on
I just think
I've been go ahead, Greg.
I think it depends on the school district.
Wait, hold on, Greg. I don't mean to interrupt. I should have said this before. Can I finish explaining a couple of things before you answer?
Yeah, go ahead.
And so one of the things I've been seeing, I go to different schools, blah blah blah, is I think me and my mom might have been talking about this parent involvement seems to be, the different layers of parent involvement in the finances that come with that kind of stuff. But anyways, it wasn't as good a good addition to it to provide clarity as I thought it was. But we'll go ahead.
Hold on, LJ. Greg, before you go, but we can't trust you with nothing. Can y'all see that?
What are you talking about?
Nah, you got to pull it
No,
back.
you can't see.
What is it?
Nah, I still can't.
Oh,
What is it?
anyway, it is Lambeau Field and it is covered in snow. You just said the weather wouldn't be a factor.
Yeah.
You got to get off that cricket service, man. They don't have
Hey,
they
man,
GP.
I got Boost Mobile, man. Don't hate on my Boost.
Do you? Oh, you would never be my lawyer. Never no damn Bruce Bowen. You would never be my lawyer.
On that good old Sprint network.
Man, I had you lined up. Anything I need for the law in Texas, I'm calling Greg, but not with Boost Mobile. I'm not.
I didn't even know
I'm
they were
just
still
assuming
around.
you ain't working for
I didn't even know they were still around, bro.
Yeah, I see they commercials all the time.
Yeah,
Boost
I mean,
Mobile.
as far as that private school versus public school, I think it just depends on your school district. You know, because my kids go to public school, and the reason why I got mine in public school is because in Harris County you have school choice, so you don't necessarily have to go to the school that you zone to.
Okay.
So they have.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
What is Tyler Street?
It's private school.
Private school.
Okay. Like I'm just saying, I know there's things called charter schools. What is that?
Charter schools are public schools. Most of them are
Okay.
public schools. Yeah, because they get government funding, but they
Okay.
don't fall under the umbrella of the school district. So,
Okay.
and that's a whole, it's a whole bunch of politics and all that stuff, man. Some people argue that charter schools actually hurt the public schools because some of the better students want to choose to go to the charter school as opposed to the public school.
Like what's the Townview? Townview is a charter school.
No, Townview is a public school. That's a magnet school.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a magnet school. Like, you know, you got certain magnets in, you know, and I know in Dallas, you got you know what, Townview, Skyline. I can't remember some of the other magnet schools, but they got a few of them, you know, the School of Performing Arts. So again, I live in, you know, in Houston. So we got school choice. You know, we just chose the school that we want them to go to, applied for it. They got a lottery system. Thankfully, they got in. They in a great school.
A lottery system, say word. If you watching on Facebook Live, drop a comment, public or private. Tell us why. I'm just curious.
Yeah, I mean, so as far as your question of parental involvement, you know, yeah, private school, you are gonna tend to probably have more parental involvement because, you know, folks paying tuition and they caring about, you know, what's going on in the school. But at the school my kids go to, it's a bunch of parental involvement. A lot of it probably is because the school is located in an affluent area. We don't live in that area, that part of town, so we got to kind of drive them in. But you know, you got you know, a lot of stay-at-home moms that are always at the school. The PTO organization, the parent teacher organization is really big. You have a lot of folks that donate to that, so that, you know, that takes care of some of the funding. To couple with whatever the state is not giving them, the PTO will kind of chip in and kick in. So I think it's just all about, people got to make decisions for themselves, man. I don't think you can just say, you know, one is better than the other, because you got some suburban schools, you know, that are public schools that aren't, you know, good at all, you know, education wise. So, you know, I think it's teachers.
That again. You say you got a suburban school that isn't a public school.
Well, they all, you know, because a lot of people say, oh man, you know, I moved to the suburbs because they have great schools, you know, great public school.
Right.
But that's not necessarily always the case. Some of those public schools that are in suburban areas aren't, you know, really good.
Name one.
Ooh. Would you? Well, like I said, I'm not in education, right? So, and, you know, and because I'm familiar with Dallas, you would categorize Lancaster as a suburban school district, right?
Yeah.
DeSoto, Duncanville, Cedar Hill.
Yep. They don't have good school systems. I have no idea.
I have no idea. I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, I know the athletics off the chart, but I don't know what they're doing as far as.
I see what you just did. He tried to. He just named
black
exactly. Why you ain't? See why you and Curtis beat Mark. He went straight to the suburban school district where most of their kids are black. Boy, you ain't right.
Yeah,
you are not right.
We can say Waxahachie. We can say
No, Waxahachie ain't no suburban school.
That's country.
That's like a totally different.
Okay, so you're saying that's rural. That's a rural area.
even though they're trying
whatever you
to,
want to call it. That
even
ain't.
though they're growing, but
I
yeah,
wouldn't consider Waxahachie a suburban school.
no, I
I think of
wouldn't because it's on
Waxahachie as like, yeah, like something like Malcolm talking about.
What about Red
Country,
Oak? What about Red Oak?
the same thing.
Yeah, yeah. Red Oak. I mean,
Red Oak is like, well, they're right on the other side of DeSoto. It's like right there.
yeah, it's like
Yeah,
Red
but
Oak, Glen
hell, I
Heights,
mean,
and then
hey,
excuse me, DeSoto,
if
Glen Heights,
look,
and Red
brother,
Oak. But
if somebody live on the beach and then somebody live on the other side of them, you keep going inland, sooner or later you're gonna get away from the beach.
I don't know.
yeah, I wouldn't consider Red Oak a suburb. Red Oak is it's almost the country, man. It ain't quite. But I get what you're saying though. It's pretty close to DeSoto, but I don't know. Maybe.
So I actually asked my wife, she works at Waxahachie Life, which I don't know if y'all have heard of Life School because there are one in
Charter
Dallas and
school,
stuff
right?
like that. So
Charter school, right?
I believe that's a charter school. That's why I kind of asked. So technically, like a lot of their kids are not even from Waxahachie. Most of those come from Dallas or like the surrounding area of Dallas. So I ask all the time since she works at that school, it's like, would you want our kids to go to private or public? I've never been to a private school. I say I prefer.
Milford might as well be a private school. Ain't but 6 people in there.
And technically, I can't speak for now because I don't really follow Milford like that. But when we were there, I forget the names that you get for your testing, whatever, like recommended or exemplary, whatever the district is, right?
That's it.
We were recognized or whatever that one thing is above recognized. So like Milford did have a good
exemplary.
Good
That's the
education
highest one.
system
My
back
memory serves me
then.
correctly.
Yeah.
I can't speak for them now, so I don't know what they do now. But me personally, I prefer private, and it's merely based off perception. Because, like I said, I've never been to a private school, and what I mean by that is like I feel like I can be more in control of what they are being taught. Because a public school has to kind of follow whatever the state recommendations is, right? As far as
private schools got a curriculum.
Private school do it too.
Just because you paying tuition don't mean you gotta say
no, don't mean I can walk in there and say today I want him to learn about this. But I'm saying is like I can look at like I guess they have more flexibility on what they want to teach. That makes sense.
Maybe so.
No, they don't, because you got to think a diploma. There's still certain standards or still certain things you have to do, classes you got to take
to keep
in order that
to keep their accreditation.
Accreditation and for that diploma to be acceptable, assuming that they're trying to go to a university or college or stuff like that after school.
Okay. Like I said, I've never been, so and I know this is my thing when people tell me, I was like, there's different levels to private schools, just like there's different levels there's different levels to public schools too. Like there's, like Greg was saying, there's some school districts that are better than other school districts. Like when I worked in Frisco, I know a lot of them that when I was working at Cadillac, a lot of them lived in Richardson because they said the school district, like Richardson School District, was very good. Now, I don't know. I didn't even have my kid was 2 months old then, so I wasn't even thinking about that.
LJ, all your kids in private school?
Yeah.
Have they ever gone to public school?
No.
Okay. You said yeah, no.
No, my kids have never gone to public school.
Okay. So, like, to me, I understand. I just can't send my kid to any private school and be like, oh yeah, they're gonna be in private school and be good. I know there's good and bad. So I always use this mantra when, like, in anything in life, for the most part, you always get what you pay for, right? If there's a private school that's this much a semester and then there's a private school that's this much a semester, chances are this is going to offer them something more than this one is that will help them. It's not a guarantee, but it'll help them, push forward in life.
Probably for the most part, you're probably right.
Like my son's 4 now. He's still in daycare because he wasn't old enough to go to preschool. Like we called one daycare and it was like $1,800 a month, and I was like, okay, I'm not saying I'm not interested in not paying $1,800 a month, but please tell me
Wow.
why I need to pay $1,800 a month versus $700 a month over here. You know what I'm
That's a lot of
saying? It is. Now, granted, I didn't choose them, but I was just like, I understand like there's gonna be different levels. So I like I said, I think I would prefer my kid to go to private school, but it's strictly based on what
I'll
I
tell
think
you,
I
I'll
have a
tell
little
you
bit more
this.
control of what they learn and why they're going there.
I'll,
That
I'll
makes
tell
sense.
I'll tell you this. I mean, it's kind of tied in what we're talking about. Since virtual school has been going on, and since we like been home with the kids, and we can like listen in onto the classroom and everything, it's been really interesting, man. Because you send your kids to school for 7, 8 hours,
Hmm.
and you trust in the school to teach them. And I don't know about your kids, LJ, but my kids come home, I'll be like, "What y'all talked about today?" I don't know. I'm like, "No, you there for 7 hours. You don't know what's going on. You sleep the whole time."
I
But
don't even
now,
have no.
with the virtual, we can hear, what's being instructed and stuff like that. We kind of know, like, okay, this is what
I'm gonna give. I feel like I got a fairly unique uh perspective. One, because I went to public school in the inner city for up through the 7th grade.
Mhm.
Then I finished out in private school. Then on the back end, I taught at a private school for 1 year. Then I taught at a public school for 2 years in the inner city. Um, and my
Oh, hold on, LJ, can I stop you real quick?
yep.
So, I'm guessing this is somebody y'all know. Dude named Jamal Majors.
Yep.
Yeah, Matt.
He said, "What you say?"
No, he went to Tyler Street with us. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. He said it all depends on the area you live in. Just thought I'd tell you that.
I would agree to a certain extent, but my perspective, I mean, I would just tell you, Greg already asked me, my kids are private school kids. Um, it's not because I hate public schools and nothing like that. I mean, for the most part, well, I can't even say for the most part because my oldest son is 14, and for probably up until I might have I probably got my numbers wrong. Maybe the 6th grade, we was in the army. So it's kind of like my situation with why I'm going to private school has been kind of maybe a little bit different. But I mean, there's some reasons we choose private school over public school. One is religion. My kids have always gone to, for the most part, they've always gone to Catholic school, and so religion is important to us. And
I should say that's kind of part of mine too. Um, is that like I'm not gonna say I'm not the most Christian person there is, but I am one. If that makes sense. So I do want him to be involved. If that makes sense.
yeah,
And that's part of I have to do that at home too. But you get what I'm saying.
so like that's a big reason for us is wanting them to be around religion and be taught the religion um, every day. What's the other? There's probably some others I can't think of off the top of my head. That's probably the biggest reason. And I will tell you, the other reason is when you go to private schools, you have more access to your kids. This is a true story, right? And this was probably the nail in the coffin for us sending our kids to public school. Um, we had moved back to Virginia. I think I was going to the captain's career course. And I was making like okay money. I wasn't making like great money. And I think both of my sons were entering. One of my sons was already in school, and my other son was getting ready to be old enough to go to school full time. And so the private school that we were looking at, the Catholic school, we thought it was maybe a little bit too expensive we think we could afford it at the time. So there were some other public schools. You can look and see where the rankings and all that. So we were transitioning from, I think, New Mexico up there. So we found a house in an area of this particular school, this particular elementary school. So we was enrolling them, getting ready and all of that. And then they were basically, he was talking to them. And I can't remember. We was asking about like, hey, what if we want to come and see them? Not necessarily see them, but you know what I mean? Like
Drop
just
in.
be able to like some have access to them during the day, and I can't think of in what setting we were talking about, but they was basically like, nah, you can't really do that. You just got, and my wife is like, hell no. I mean, and so then
So I was gonna say, can
it
you give
has.
another example of like a private school allowing you to? So
Oh
to help
yeah, man.
understand.
Say, listen, brother. Private schools, they in. I mean, like I could go into a school to the school right now. Just go. I mean, well, not now because of COVID, but you know what I'm saying. Uh, I can go have lunch with my kids anytime I want to. I don't think that school was allowing them to have. Now there was just one school, but I'm just telling
Okay.
you, when my wife heard that, she was like, "Hell no."
Yeah,
I
and I was gonna say
mean,
my experience, like I said, my kids are in public school is different. Like we can, well, of course, pre-COVID, we can go and check in and all that. They give you a little badge, a little temporary badge. You can eat lunch with your kids and
I
all that.
often say, if I remember correctly, in Milford, like
yeah.
of course my parents was at work, so they never came in and ate lunch with me. But or at least when I got older, they might
Are
have
you
when I
trying to
was
say I'm
younger.
unemployed? I work too.
No, all I'm saying is they didn't have an office job where they could just, there's different levels of
Yeah,
jobs too,
I'm just
brother.
giving you a
Yeah,
hard
That
yeah, people
time,
got
man. I
more
know what you're talking about.
flexibility, different levels of
uh,
flexibility in their job.
my
Yeah.
parents are blue collar workers. They was in the warehouse getting it in. You know what I'm saying? So,
I mean,
uh,
Jamal's point is good though because it is about where you live too. Like I say, we got school choice here, so I can, like I said, my kids' school is about 12 to 13 miles away from where we live. They're not going to the school where they zoned at. If they were forced to go to the school they were zoned at, well, then my opinion might change. You know what I'm saying? Because where
gotcha.
we at, I'm close to Cloverland. You know what I'm
So
saying?
like, hey, Red Oak, like you was talking about Red Oak. Red
They
Oak's
put
in
a little
OTD.
flip.
So you don't have
right,
to
right,
live in Red Oak to go to Red Oak.
right, right,
I
right.
mean, but like there is some other advantages to me to go, and my perspective, like I say, is a little bit, it's kind of different because my only interactions with public schools have been in the inner city, right? So I don't have a suburban. My kids went to school in the suburbs, or I coached, excuse me, or I taught at a school in the suburbs. So I can't exactly say what's going on in the suburbs. I mean, if you go to somebody said something about the perspective. I will give you a perfect example. When we went to school, I will say this. I think private schools in general tend to be more academically rigorous than if you, and I'm saying, not saying, I'm obviously understanding that there's levels, but if you just went across the board, I think you'll find more academic rigor on average in a private school versus a public school. But and then
Maybe because
if you get in on average, go
yeah,
into, you start looking into graduation rates, college acceptance rates. On average, they're a lot higher in private schools than they are in public schools.
I mean, I think some of it too depends on grade level
Well,
because
He
I
just
well,
think
said
yeah, I mean, yeah,
graduation
but
rates,
I'm just
didn't
I'm just saying in general.
because to me, and this is my opinion, I think that as far as on the elementary level, it might be better, say, like for them to go to a public school as a private, but as they get older,
So me and my wife talk about that too. Why do you feel that?
I don't know,
You
man.
actually see the opposite, but yeah.
Because I would say I've looked at private schools because he's getting to the age now. Uh, and I noticed, and I talk to people that have their kids in private school, and a lot of them teach them like stuff like they make sure they learn Spanish at a young age and stuff like that. And I don't know if public schools are doing stuff like that.
My kids go to
And
a language immersion school, bro. So they
You don't
just
need to learn Spanish, man. Not
no, I'm
being
not saying you do. I'm just saying like
no, you don't. It's not a necessity.
so like
At the end of
before
the
we
day,
moved to California, right? Before we moved to California, my son was 2, right? And we found the daycare he was going to. They would obviously they was teaching about the Bible and stuff like that, but they was also teaching him how to count in Spanish, uh, and how to, say simple words in Spanish like agua. Like for the longest, he wouldn't say water; he would just say agua. Uh, and I think you,
yeah.
whether you need to learn Spanish or not, I think it's good to be bilingual, regardless if it's in Spanish or something else. Uh,
I mean,
so like,
some studies show that it's better, for a developing mind to learn multiple languages.
and it's easier when you're younger to learn. Like, well, studies show it's easier to learn something when you're younger than when you're older. So,
Yeah,
but I think that's a mindset too.
So,
yeah.
Brad, you don't think private schools graduation rates and acceptance rates to colleges are higher than public schools on average?
No, yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that for sure.
Okay, well,
Yeah, I agree with that for sure. Now,
listen, you gonna make. I mean, it's just there's some differences in private schools and public schools, man. And I think, and when y'all was talking about there's levels to private schools, I'm gonna tell you right now, when my kids went to live, when we lived in Colorado, when we moved up to the Denver area, my kids went to a crappy Catholic school. And if we had stayed in Denver in that area, my kids would not have gone back. There was no parent involvement. It wasn't like necessarily that academically rigorous. Like I was talking to my son the other day, my 12-year-old, and they didn't particularly like that school. Actually, they didn't like it. But he said they liked it because it was easier compared to the school now. Like I don't want to say they always, and it's not, having homework is not always an indication that the school is academically rigorous, in my opinion. But so there are levels to the quality of education that you're going to get. Even the facilities, right? We played at a private school the other day. It's a 1A school, so a lot smaller. I don't know their enrollment. They got a tiny gym. The campus looked okay, tiny gym, but versus you go to a 3A public school, they got a beautiful gym, football field on campus, and I won't compare it to the school that I coach at and that my kids are going to go to, or my oldest son will be in next year. But there's nothing at that school that I would say that they don't have that you would find at any public school. I mean, I've told y'all the number of gyms. They got their own football field, own baseball field, blah 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 blah. But I just personally like private school. I always felt like the one thing that I would say that I like the most about private school is it always feels, the ones we have gone to always feels like it's a family environment. It's not like the principal and the people in the front office know one or two students, or the kids who are always in trouble, or the top students.
Yeah.
It seems like it just feels like a family environment. And except for that, with the exception of that one private school, I think the biggest difference I would say between my experience in public and private school is the parent involvement.
It's
Do you
crazy.
feel like
What you describing sounds like my kid's school, and they go to a public school.
But you talking about the suburbs, eh?
I'm not in the suburbs. My kids go to school.
You just said they was in the affluent area.
It is an affluent area, but Houston is different, bro. You got affluent areas, you know what I'm saying, right in the heart of town.
It ain't no damn affluent area in the hood, Greg. Stop trying to get some hood credibility, man.
But it's not suburban.
Greg, you listen. Your kids are going to school with suburban kids, Greg. It's okay, brother.
No, but
it's okay,
brother. I consider suburbs outside.
Katy, what do you like, Katy?
That's a suburban school. Katy.
So Shell says she think it's the student to teacher ratio, which I was about to ask that. LJ, do you feel like but what I was gonna say is, LJ, the school that you coach at is pretty big, right?
Yeah.
Do you know what the student to teacher ratio is?
I mean, I guess it's around like 18-1.
So it's still pretty.
Yeah, small. And I think the student to teacher ratio can be a little bit overrated because it's good. No, it's not necessarily a hindrance, bro. But let me explain something to you, because how many schools with people get carried away with the student to teacher ratio is when you have a bunch of assholes in your class. That's when obviously there's some cutoff, right? But there's a difference between having one teacher for every 18 students and 99% of your kids are like really good kids, right? Mm-hmm. They're not fighting and crap and all that. And there's a difference between having a 1 to 18 student ratio when 4 of your kids they could convince you that their parents are both devils. There's a difference. I mean, you know what I'm saying? So, and then you also got to take it to the consideration the size of the school. not every private school is a small private school.
That's why I asked you that.
Yeah, and then when you go to a lot of these smaller private schools, you're gonna miss out. There's some trade-off, right? You'll have smaller private schools with lower numbers, but the trade-off that you generally will give up is the different programs, the access to the different things that you would have in maybe a larger school, right? So they may not, if you go to a smaller private school, they're not going to offer as many, how should I say it? Like, I would say like alternative classes, if you will, classes that are not just straight, hey, you got to take history, you got to take math, you got to take science. At a smaller private school, they're not going to have that many options versus you go to a larger private school, they're going to have more options. And so, I mean, is there a give and take? Sure, but you can still have academic rigor. I mean, it's just like if you go to Harvard. Harvard is a great institution, supposedly, but they don't have 500 students. They still have a ton of students.
I think
go ahead, Greg.
I think private schools, they do have a better ability to control that teacher, student to teacher ratio, because they getting tuition, and I ain't say all private schools ain't the same, but they can if they have a lot of students paying tuition, they can hire some more teachers. Now I remember when I was at Florence, man, it might have been like 28, 30 to 1. Like it was situations where we ain't had no desk for some kids. You know what I'm saying?
And how many of that 30? How many of them did you know were going to prison? Listen, we ain't gotta fight around and nothing like that. You could, Greg, the school I taught at elementary school, I knew some of them kids were going to prison.
I know some of them that I taught that are in prison.
And you probably knew when you was teaching them they were going to be in prison.
Yeah, it was a good chance that they were going. It was a good chance.
So I mean, it's
what I was going to ask,
like a private. I know a kid got suspended because he cursed on the internet. He called somebody the B word on the internet. Got suspended from the school that I coach at.
Right.
But I'm like, I said, he was like, well, I got suspended. I said, that's because you go to a private school. If you go to a public school, they don't have time for that. They ain't got.
Yeah, they ain't watching you like this.
Ain't nobody listen. If they were suspending kids in public schools for cursing on the internet, they would probably. They'll be suspending kids every day. Even the kids you think are good kids, they probably will be suspended.
Right.
So I think the teacher to student ratio is kind of crazy because I think it can be helpful and can be a hindrance at the same time. Because think about it from my
How can it be a hindrance?
Just think about I'll give you an example for me. Well, I won't use me because it's gonna sound crazy, but my class was one of the bigger classes at Milford, right? And I'll tell you the number that I had, and that's why I said it's
so
I graduated with 15 other people, right? So, and that's one of the bigger classes. So, like my junior, that senior class had like 6 people in it. So if you go from a setting where you're in the class with 5 other students, right? And then say you go to Texas Tech as a freshman, you're not gonna be used to the teacher not talking to you all the time, right? That teacher probably ain't even really gonna know who you are.
Yeah.
Versus, if you late to class at Milford, they ain't got to call roll. They just look. What
most college classes don't care whether you come to class or not.
I know exactly. So
some do, but most of them I went to a couple that took roll, but that was kind of when you got to the classes that you had to have in order to. You know what I'm saying? When you got to be like a junior and senior, but then they really didn't even care if you came to class.
So like going from 5 people in your class, 6 people in your class to 50 or 70 or whatever that number is, it can be it can be overwhelming for that person that came from that small. That's why I say it could be a hindrance too. But I was gonna ask, what you say?
No, go ahead.
I was gonna ask you, do you feel like there's more one-on-one, I guess, teacher involvement with a student at a private schools? Do you feel like they spend
because I think so. I mean, the size of the class matters too. You know what I'm saying? That could, but I think so. Again, but size of the class obviously obviously matters and kind of factors into that as well. I mean, I think it's 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 good and bad to both. I don't think there's a perfect answer in terms of whether you should go to public school or whether should go to private school. I think to me, one of the biggest difference that I've always said between public and private, I've always felt that like in public school, they have more kids that slip through the cracks because they have so many more kids, and because you got to look at it like this. When you go, and I'm speaking specifically for Catholic schools when I say private schools, because my kids don't go to a K through 12 school, which is what a lot of Christian schools are. They tend to be K through 12 schools. It's rare that you find a Catholic school that's K through 12. They tend to do K through 8, and then they'll have a separate high school. So that's the perspective I'm coming from. So like the school my kids go to now, K through 8, they have a full-time pre-K as well. They probably got like 200 some odd students, right? So I feel like in that environment, and there's a connection between the high school and the K through 8 schools when it comes to the Catholic high school that's on our side of town and the K through 8 Catholic schools that are over. There's a connection, right? But because there's a connection, and because the K through 8 schools are so much smaller, I feel like any learning issues, any of that stuff, it's easier for them to catch, because by the time you get to high school, you've gone through a lot of these kids that go to the Catholic high schools. They've gone to Catholic school their whole lives. Not all of them. You have kids that will transfer in from public school. You have kids that may have gone to a Christian school. Same thing as happens otherwise.
Really?
You get people move. Yeah. yeah.
And I said really to the Christian and the Catholic. That's what I was.
Yeah. Because so one of the reasons that you will see people right, wrong, and different go from Christian to Catholic school is opportunity sports wise.
I got you.
That sounds crazy, but the Catholic, I mean, just from what I've seen across the states, Catholic high schools tend to be better at sports. They tend to have more facilities, et cetera, than Christian schools on average. But that's because Catholic schools will basically walk around with their hand in your pocket if you're a parent. Now that is a fact. Catholic schools basically walk around with their hand in your pocket. Both of them, well, all 4 of them actually. But I mean, I think that they notice, what I'm saying, like all of those little things with kids,
Matter.
and it's weird, man. It's different. That's all I can say is it's different. I wouldn't encourage nobody to go to public school or private school. Like Greg said, what I'm saying, you gotta do whatever work for you. And it's always gonna be some haters out there. Why you sending your kids to private school? I'd be like, listen, you shouldn't even worry about. I'm gonna do whatever I want to do in my house. I ain't got to explain nothing to you.
I think now this is just based off the conversations I've had with people when they talk about when they deter private school, right? They say one thing, and like I said, once again, I always say it's levels to private schools, right? Just like it's levels to public schools. But they always bring up, oh, they teachers don't have to be certified to teach. And they bring up, oh, they usually don't make as much. That's probably as like a public school teacher. It's probably true in some cases. But like I said,
let's see.
I would
go ahead, Malcolm.
No, I was gonna say I would assume when you get to the private schools that have higher rankings, those teachers are probably making more money, right? They a lot of those teachers probably have their either master's or doctor's degree when they're on the subject that they're teaching versus
I think that oftentimes the private school teachers get paid less than the public school teachers.
That's what I just said.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Were you listening? Were you listening?
Get out that Boost Mobile joint.
But I did hear you say, as far as like, credentials and stuff like that. I mean, a lot of times teachers at private schools don't have to be certified. You know what I'm saying?
What was you listening? I just said that too.
That's see.
And
I'm
I
gonna
prefaced
explain it.
it by saying, the people that the tariff from private schools say the teachers don't have to be certified and they get paid less. But like I said,
Now, and here's
Mr. Certificate. Go ahead.
here's the thing, right? So they would say teachers don't have to be certified, right? Which,
what does that
from
mean?
my
anyway?
understanding, I believe is a fact in that sense. But here's the other thing: not every public school teacher is certified. They won't say that. Not every, because a lot of those teachers, you can get probationary certificates now, but you still may never become a certified teacher, because just because you get a probationary certificate does not mean you will pass the required test.
Right.
That's number one. Number two, if you are a reputable private school, how do I say this? If you are a reputable private school, the chances of you having teachers that are teaching in the classroom that are not certified is like slim to none, right? Because when people are sending their kids to private schools, they're not idiots. That's one of the things they're going to check. What are the credentials of your teachers? You know, what percentage of your teachers? Because if you go look at a private school, I'll just say up here where we live in. If you go look at a Catholic school, what do you call it? A job notification for a teacher. It will tell you, you know, certification
required
and a degree, right?
Master's preferred or whatever,
right? Because they're going to. It's not like, it may not be required, but it's not like you're going to go out there and just accept anybody, right? Exactly. People still want to teach at these schools, because one of the draws to teaching at a private school versus a public school is the environment. The kids tend to be less rowdy, less fighting. You tend to have more parental involvement. It's not the case everywhere.
I would say, and
that's just where I've seen more parental involvement.
Like, and I don't want people to think, like, because once you deal with money, race comes involved, right? So I don't want people to think, okay, the kids are less. You're saying the kids are less rowdy because these kids are gonna be white. I think these kids are gonna be less rowdy.
I didn't even think about that.
No, I'm just saying, when people, kind of like the stock market, right? People think it's a rich person's game, and like only white people invest in stocks and stuff like that. But I think those kids will be less rowdy because the school is going to be less tolerant of the rowdiness. So regardless if you black or white, they just like, hey, brother, we ain't got time for the nonsense. If you gonna come here with that, you can go back home.
That's a big difference between public school and private school. A private school is not required to educate you.
Yeah,
right.
Some public school will have to take you. They can throw you out, but they're gonna have to find a school for you to go to.
Right.
But as a private school, they can say, listen, we ain't got to deal with this. You can take your money and go wherever the hell else you want to. But no, I wasn't talking about race. I mean, I wasn't thinking about race.
I was just throwing it out.
I wasn't talking about race. And because, you know, Greg and I both were teachers, and your wife is a teacher, they probably can tell you that even if you go to public school, most of the kids are good kids. But the ones that ain't, they raise hell. The ones that ain't raise hell. It ain't, most of the kids are good kids that you don't mind dealing with. Every school got kids that's gonna get in trouble. They all human. You're gonna have kids, you might even find a fight or two in some private schools. You're gonna have kids that get in trouble, kids that get sent to the office, kids that get suspended. School is school. Kids are gonna be kids. But the difference is the bad kids in private school, you know, it's the kids that talk too much in class, that goof around. That tends to be the case versus, you know, with them bad kids at the school that Greg and I done taught at, they might kill somebody. They don't mean to be disrespectful, but I'm just saying, like, their bad kids are on a different level of bad than the bad kids at private school.
From a different environment. They got a whole bunch of other different type of stuff going on.
And,
even if you go to the suburbs,
that's what's true. But I was saying, like, and that's what I was trying to separate from the race. Is just like the private school is not going to tolerate. A lot of the stuff.
They don't have to.
Yeah, they don't have to. And I ain't even, I forgot about race. I don't even know if race play a factor, man. Because, and I say that because, and I know people probably saying, you know, race play a factor. I can't tell you race play a factor because I ain't white, man. I don't know. I just know about me and my people in my house. And I could say this to a certain extent about the school that I go to. The school that my kids go to and the high school that they will be going to. I don't know if race or money play a factor. Do I believe most of those? Well, hold on.
See, Greg, my
Listen, I ain't saying I got money. Let
Greg,
me just
my
preface this by saying that I ain't saying I got money, but a lot of them kids at this high school, people got money. Now that don't mean I'm not saying that I got money. I'm just saying there's some people over there, and maybe economics do play a factor, man. I don't know.
my auntie, Greg. See, this is the mindset that black people need to have, right? My auntie said she finished school in Denver, Colorado, right? Most of my teachers cared, but I had one, Mr. Emerson. I never forgot what he said the first day. He said, I want everyone in here to succeed. I will be here every day to help you. But it is up to you to do your part because oh, my black ass is gonna get paid whether you're here or not. Let's get started.
That's true.
Hey, he just giving you the facts up front. He just explained it to you. I ain't gonna get bent out of shape. My life's gonna stay on, whether you can read or not.
my experience with teaching in public school was, you always had that, that one student that would just, and you needed to make an example of them really quick so everybody else could see how it was going down in the classroom. Because if you just let that one person just control and be wild, you're gonna lose everybody else. That was my experience.
Do y'all have a teacher? Like, I don't, but that was my. It's mostly because of me, right? Do y'all have a teacher that y'all had in high school or whatever that you don't necessarily still have to have a relationship with, but like one that you kind of clung to and
I talked to some
kind
folks
of guided you through?
I talked to
You
some
said what?
people down the street on Facebook, and then too, like, my mom, she will talk to some of the folks, that taught us at Tyler Street and say, oh, Miss such and Mrs. Say hello. She loved Mr. Tracy. She loved Mr. Tracy, man. That was her guy. Mr. Tracy was cool. So I mean, I had good experiences with my teachers, man. Some better than others, but yeah, I mean, some of them generally cared about how we would come out and look to see, how we doing as adults and stuff like that. So yeah, I got relationships.
I'm gonna say this, it's gonna sound rather arrogant. I ain't never had nobody guide me in life. I mean, I'm just being completely
You ain't had a
honest.
sergeant, or I don't know the rankings
nobody guided me
in
through
Army.
life. Nobody.
That sounds crazy.
It do sound
It
crazy.
does.
I told you, Greg, what do my name say? I'm better than you, man. I don't need no guy. But I really ain't never had nobody really just guide me through life saying, hey, you need these are the steps you gotta take, boom, boom. I just
Okay,
figured it out
so
myself.
if you want to talk about that, I would agree. I haven't either. That says, hey, you need to do this, do this, do this, do this, do this.
Yeah, but you have never had, but you do have people in your life that have supported you and encouraged you. You know what I'm saying?
Or people
what does
like
that mean? Supported and encouraged. I don't even know what you mean by that.
I mean,
like,
I'm of the school of thought that it takes a village to raise a child. You need people.
See, that's the suburban talk.
You need people in your corner. You know what I'm saying, to kind of say, hey, man, good job, or we encourage you to do this or that. Not to say that you got to take that instruction or take that.
Nah, man, I ain't never had nobody doing that.
So I was gonna add, like, you ain't
you don't have a good job.
I disagree with that.
So,
I think
how you gonna disagree with my life?
Because I know you. That's why. I think it's some folks that were influenced you in your life at the Salvation Army and things like that. That, you know what I'm saying, that
nobody was in, like, you. If you saying, like, somebody said, hey, you did a good job, of course somebody said, hey, you did a good job. But there was nobody encouraging me, hey, you should do this, you should do this, you should do this.
Yeah,
so it was like there's nobody in your past or current, like in the present, that you like when there's something you're trying to figure out, like there's nobody you call, like, hey man, let me bounce this off your head, see what you think.
I ain't never had nobody like that. I mean, I do keep in touch with some of my teachers, like Mr. Glass, for example. Like anytime I'm in California, if I can figure out a way to get up to where he lived at, I haven't been to California in a few years, but a couple of times I've been to Cali. When I'm in Cali, I make it a point, if I have time, based on my schedule, what I got to do over there. Yeah, we'll link up. So it's some teachers like that. You know what I'm saying? Even my coaches. The last time I was in Dallas, I went to the school one of my coaches was at. He don't coach no more, but I went to his school. Chopped it up with him. Then he invited me to one of their football games. I went to their football game. So I mean, I don't talk to them on a regular, but yeah, I still keep in
Yeah, I'm not
contact with
saying
people, and
just
I go
name
see
nobody.
them. You know what I'm saying? When I'm in the city and I got time, and you know, if I can make time for them, I go see some of my coaches and stuff like that, my teacher. But no, I don't. I've never had like a mentor or anything like that, or anybody that I've ever called and say, hey, I'm thinking about that. I call on a regular basis and say, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. I'm thinking about doing that. Like I might call my mama and talk to my mama, but I'm not asking for her advice. Or I might call and talk to my brother, but I'm not really like, I mean, like I might tell him this is what I'm about to do, but I don't call anybody and ask for their advice. I've never done, I'm not gonna say that I never asked anybody for their advice, but 99% of the time, I don't really ask for people's advice. I don't want to say, I just kind of do what I want to do. If that, I mean, you know, I'm gonna
I mean,
talk to my
you know,
wife. Me and my wife gonna talk through it,
I
but I
do
ain't
have
asking for nobody advice.
I do have mentors. I do have people that I go to and seek their advice. But at the same time, just because they give me their advice, don't necessarily mean I take it. You know what I'm saying? I got to internalize it, think about it. Just because you telling me something, don't mean I gotta necessarily go that way. You know, and I might just want to get your perception and get your thought and what do you honestly think about something.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
then I'll make my own
yeah,
decision.
I kick something to somebody, but like not nothing important. Like for example, there was a point in this basketball season where I was like, you know, I think in the future I might be better off. I might be better off as an assistant coach and not a head coach. I did ask one other dude that's in coaching that I respect as a coach that I know has had some success and spent time, you know, a lot of years as a head coach, and now he spent a lot of time as an assistant coach. I did ask him, you know what I'm saying, have he ever you know, come across something like that? But I mean, for the most part, man, I just do what I do. I mean, that's just how I always live my life. Cause I ain't never really, I really don't trust people like that. Not, you know what I'm saying, not like a specific individual, but I just really just don't trust people like that. And I never want to feel like that. I always feel like at the end of the day, in order for me to be as successful as I need to be, um, I need to feel like it came from me. I don't want to look and say like, oh, well, so and so told me to do this and I did that and it ain't work. I can't. For me, I
Yeah,
couldn't live.
I ain't
I
gonna.
couldn't live with
I
that.
got
I
what
could
you're saying.
live with me making a decision and it being wrong, and maybe what you said was right. I'm cool with that, but I ain't gonna be cool with if you tell me to do something and it's wrong. I might not necessarily be mad at you. I'm like, if I'm gonna be wrong, if something gonna go wrong, it's gonna go wrong because I make
Because
that
you did it.
decision
Yeah,
and it just is
I
what it
get
is.
that.
I can live with that
And
any
I
day
and
of the
I
week.
guess like to what Greg said, like so like I would call somebody say I'm thinking about doing something or trying to figure something out. You know what I'm saying? Like I would call somebody I think has kind of went through that experience before. I'm like, hey man, this blah blah, this is what I got going on, blah blah blah. And then I would listen to what they say, and I wouldn't just what Grace said, just do whatever they said. I'd be like, all right, I'll sit down and think about that. Okay, what are the pros and cons of what they said? Now how's it gonna work for me? And then make a decision based on that. But to each his own, I guess.
Yeah, I
And
ain't
but
into
there's
taking
not there's
advice.
not like 50 people that I'm calling. Like
Oh no.
I only have deep conversations with probably like 2 or 3 people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I
So
don't have, like I said, I don't have any mentors.
and
I've
I don't
never
even
had
consider
a
these people
mentor.
mentors. These are people that I consider like brothers, I guess.
Yeah,
So that
well,
makes
no.
sense.
Like y'all remember that football coaching thing I was telling y'all about? The dude said, "Hey, if you ever interested and get back in, give me a call."
Right.
So I went and talked to him last week, and you know he offered me a spot. I ain't gonna call nobody and talk about that. I'm just gonna. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I think I probably mentioned it to my mom and my granny, but I'm not really like asking for their advice or nothing like that. What you think about this? What you think about that? I mean, I talked to my wife about it, but you know what I'm saying? I really and really a lot of times I'm not even seeking my wife advice. I'm just making sure we're on the same sheet of music.
No, I'm just bullshit.
Yeah, I don't need no advice. I look at it like Slim Thug said, I drove the car this far. Don't try to stop me now.
I mean, ultimately, you got to be the one to make the decision. So I get it.
Yeah. So I mean, I talk, like I said, we talk and I make sure we're on the same sheet of music. Like, oh yeah, if I'm gonna do this, you know what I'm saying? But sometimes, you know, she might not agree, and I have to say, listen, it just is what
This
it
is what I
is.
want to do.
this what I feel like is in not just my best interest, but in our best interest as a family at this point in time. And you know what I'm saying, this is what it's gonna be.
Yeah.
And you know what I'm saying, there's times where
In the
she
words of
agree.
Curtis, man, y'all gotta stop all this South stuff. Let's talk about some
Yeah, hey,
real
I'm gonna be
stuff.
sorry. And then, you know what I'm saying?
Nah, just-
It been time where she did the same thing. Like, you know what I'm saying? She took a full-time job at the kids' school this past year. I mean, that was really the first time she done worked probably 5, 6 years, something like that. And I'll be honest with you, I ain't even really want her to go back to work. I like her when she was at the
I was
crib
gonna
all the
say,
time.
Greg, you can tell us if you want to or not. Does your wife work?
No, she actually she stopped working when my daughter was like my oldest daughter was 3 months old. She did go back to work in 2019 because my wife's an attorney too. She's licensed in Louisiana though, so she do some contract work.
Well,
But
you know you can't get it. Well, you're gonna lose that battle.
she
Anyway, go ahead.
she stopped working when the pandemic came around and the kids were going virtual and she saw how involved it was that she would actually need to be helping out and everything.
Yeah.
She started working for that. So
So she was working before the pandemic.
yeah, she was doing some
Okay.
contract work, but she wasn't full time. I mean,
So
she work a project here or there whenever she wanted
gotcha.
to.
Oh, she was like a contract. All right.
Yeah,
Gotcha. So I'm gonna ask y'all a question, but I want to give you my background first. So I used to be of the mindset that I would always used to say, no matter how much money I make, right? My my wife would have to work. And I used to say that before I even got married. I was like, I don't care if they have to go be a greeter at Walmart. They just gotta go do something every day. You just ain't even just be sitting at home all day while I'm getting up and go to work. So when we first got together, we both worked. And then up until the time that we moved to California, she always had a job, right? And then once we got there, she didn't, obviously because I got moved to California out there because of a job, and she didn't have one lined up. So the plan was she would get one once we got out there. Well, weeks went by, months went by, she wasn't working. I was like, and I kind of started liking the fact that she would be at home when I got home, and stuff around the house was done and stuff like that. And I actually liked her not working at that point.
You
So
looking
I'm
for a
asking,
maid.
you said what?
You looking for a maid.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Third
No,
around
what
the
I'm
house
saying.
done.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I just like the fact that there's a lot of things that I could go focus on work and didn't have to worry about stuff getting done at the house, whatever the case may be. But I was gonna ask y'all, do y'all prefer y'all wife to work or not? Whether they work or not, I was asking, do y'all prefer they work or not?
I mean, I ain't gonna lie. I like it when my wife don't work, and I only say that because like it can be some of it is for selfish reasons and some of it is
A
for
lot of
relationship
a
reasons.
lot of it is
I mean, it's selfish reasons in terms of it's like our life can be pretty hectic in terms of we're having 4 kids. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot that go into that, and it can be tiring. Not it can be tired. She's gonna be at home more than I am. It just
that
is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Just because of the nature of what she do for a living, she's gonna be home more than I am, and she have to deal with a lot more of that stuff in terms of helping out with homework and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Just because a lot of times, what I'm saying, I'm not even home at that time when they get home from school. But the other stuff I really don't care about. I mean, clean the house, and I really don't care about that. That don't make no difference to me. I mean, because to be honest with you, uh,
and
yeah,
I
we
would
pay
clarify what
people
I
to come
mean
and clean
by
our house a couple
I'm
times a
finna,
month.
I was
you
gonna say,
rich,
let me
Mark?
clarify what I mean by
I
things
ain't
around
rich.
being done.
Nope.
Uh,
I mean, since we've been living in this house, that's kind of one of the things and she started going back to work, you know what I'm saying? That's kind of one of the things we've been doing. But I mean, the other reason I like for her to stay at home is we get to spend more private time together. We got 4 kids and they busy. And not only that, but basketball season can be pretty taxing with my schedule and me coaching and still having a regular job. You know what I'm saying? It can get pretty hectic and it can be hard to find time to spend alone and you know what I'm saying, not just
so
be
how
like,
does
well, it's
how
late,
does
but I'm
her?
gonna go to bed. You know
I
what I'm
was gonna
saying?
ask, how does well, first off, let me clarify what I mean by things around the house getting done. like doctor's appointments and stuff like it would be easier to have those
Oh yeah,
things
for sure. For
because
sure.
she's not, like now I'm not at home, right? I probably have to be at work at 9 or 10 in the morning and then don't get home till 9, 10, 11 at night. So I'm not really here. So like if she wasn't working, like if there's a doctor appointment that had to be had at 12 o'clock, she don't have to leave work,
Yeah.
go do that, go back to, what I'm saying, stuff like
You
that.
can leave work.
I don't even work close to home, so I
That's all
can't.
right. You can drive. That's crazy. You know your car work. You can drive.
I mean, as far as a
Anyway,
preference, I'm just like I said, man. She hasn't worked the majority of the time, so I'm just used.
Greg preference is what his wife wants to do because he don't run it. No, I'm just
I'm used to. I'm just used to not now. When she did, like I said, start to do some project work, in order to make it work, because like when the kids get out of school at like 3:30 or whatever, like I'm not gonna be able to pick them up from school. I just got too much going on at the office.
You just not arriving for your court case at 12 o'clock.
Well, I
You
mean,
ain't
That
ready on
started at
time.
8.
you do traditionally have court in the morning, and so then you got to do your office work in the afternoon, and then clients want to come in the afternoon too. So, but like when my wife was working, in order for her to get off at a decent time to get off earlier, she would have to like be at the house at like 5, 6 something in the morning. So I
Mhm.
had to wake them up, get them dressed, get them breakfast, take them to school. And I'm like, that's a whole lot going on. Like this is a really difficult little job right here,
You know that? You're neglectful, man. How y'all don't know that being a stay-at-home, I tell my wife all the time, she used to stay at home, I'd be like, listen, what you do is 10 times harder than what I do. I would rather go to work any day of the week. It's easy for me to go to work and do what I gotta do. It's a lot harder being a stay-at-home mom. But I mean, I prefer if my wife stay at home, but hell, if she want to work, I just look at it like, what I'm saying, the biggest thing is when you are working, we still have to understand the house principles in terms of like who do what around the house. I'm not really a big I ain't really a 50-50 guy. I don't really work out. I don't really. I mean, because we all, everybody got different personalities.
That's not really that's not really possible in a lot of ways. 50.
It is. I mean, it is. It require you to grind. Well, I'm
Mhm.
talking. I mean, maybe you can't do 50-50 with it, but you can do 50-50 in terms of you do half of the cooking, she do half of the cooking.
I was just
You
about to say,
do,
like,
you know what I'm
when you
saying? You do laundry one week, she do laundry. You can say you can do 50-50, but I'm not really a 50-50 guy because there's certain things that, what I'm saying, maybe I really don't like to do, and it's gonna get done on my timeline or whatnot. And there's certain things that she ain't really into. Like me, I'm a provider. You know what I'm saying? So if I got to work 24 hours, I'm gonna work 24 hours to take care of my family. Not that my wife wouldn't, but she don't have that mentality. See what I'm saying? So she is better suited if like I focus on paying all the bills
Mhm.
and she do something that she more comfortable with. Not that I don't have that, you know what I'm saying? Because really right now I take my kids to most of the appointments, doctor's appointments, stuff like that. And, my oldest who got braces and stuff. So I take them to a lot of that, but a lot of after school activities, she ends up having to take them to. But I think to me that's important is having, you know what I'm saying, still figuring out that balance because I just be like, listen, you're going back to work, but I'm not, I can't really support. I'd rather you stay at home if that means you think I'm finna cook 4 days out of the week. Now does that mean I don't never cook? No, I ain't saying I don't never cook.
So
But we ain't
hey,
gonna.
so
I
them
can't
meal
write it
prep,
in. Huh?
so them meal preps you be sending done don't even be your work. That be your
It
wife
do be
work.
mine. Like I cook the meat. I said this. I said I cook the meat. My wife cooked the vegetables. But what I'm saying is like, so my wife worked, but I still pay all the bills, school, all that other stuff. I still pay all the bills. So I'm like, but that's what I'm good at. That's what I like to do. Not saying that I don't like to do stuff around the home, but I don't like to cook every day.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And I'll be honest with you. This is gonna sound chauvinistic. I ain't get married to cook every day. Gonna sound listen, that gonna sound chauvinistic. I know. Ladies, if you're hearing this, you're gonna say, oh, what a pig. You call me a pig, whatever. But listen, I'm an old school man. I am a provider. I'm not saying that I'm a provider. I'm gonna do everything. Listen, everything that I can to provide my family the life that they want to have.
Yeah.
We got a nice house. My kids go to private school, blah, blah, blah. Right? That's what I do. I'm a provider. I don't want to cook every day. My wife don't want to go out there and take that responsibility of saying, I want this kind of house and I want my kids to go to this kind of school. So I'm gonna have to grind to do that. She don't want that responsibility. Cool. I will take it gladly. But I don't want the responsibility of having to cook 7 days a week. So we got our understanding. She gonna do most of the cooking. I cook sometime, and I pay all the bills. I don't got no problem with that. That's how my house work.
All this talk about cooking making me hungry, man. I'm about to go get me some.
Yeah, I gotta get out, man. It's lunchtime. It's 1:16. Malcolm and all this lovey-dovey. I love my baby. I don't want her to work. She gotta be at home and take the kids to the doctor. So bad. I be having to go shopping. I do a lot, man. I know you know what I'm saying? Me and my wife both working. I say, it's so we can't do everything 50-50, but you know what I'm saying? I carry my weight when I'm at home. I bathe my kids. I cook sometime. You know what I'm saying? Oh, yeah, I stay on top of what's going on in school. I'm the one to do most of the griping about school. That's really where I come in more than anything. I do most of the griping about school and behavior and all that. And then I usually 99% of the time I take care of a lot of the outside of school activities. You know what I'm saying? Finding places for them to play sports.
Who disciplines the most?
Probably me. Just because I'm just more of a jerk than my wife is. My wife real nice. I'm a jerk.
Hey, they always do that. Y'all white bitch always to get your kid. Like you gotta be the bad guy. Like sometimes. Like this. Can I be the nice dude for once?
The worst time of it is like when you having like a really good day.
Yeah.
Come home.
As soon as you step in the door.
But you know, nowadays you get the text message. Well, can you talk to him when you get home? I'll be like, damn, man, I'm having a good. Like I ain't even I don't even have an aura around me right now to be like I don't even have an aura right now. I can't even come home and deliver what she wants because I don't have that aura right now. I'm in such a great mood. I don't even feel like being upset. But sometimes I'll be like, listen, man, I'm tired. I don't want to walk through the door and get that dump. But he did this, she did that. I'd be like, listen, give me 10 minutes.
Then gone back.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Now my wife she'll get on, but it just don't have
the same effect. I got you.
It don't have the same effect. Because when I get on you, it might seem like I might literally destroy everything in the house. It'll make you feel that way.
Yeah.
But when she get on you, sometimes it might scare you, but other time it might feel like she just gonna knock over some milk and then clean it up herself. Versus I might get upset and take a gallon of milk and pour it on the floor and make you clean it up with a toothbrush or a sock. It's a difference. And you know, we'll tell you I don't curl and all of that. She's more compassionate. Yeah. I'm less compassionate. I love her. I mean, I love my kids, but my wife is, you know, she one of them old school mamas. She'll get on to her kid, but she loves them so much that she don't always have that ferocity to just go all the way through. Versus I feel like that's me. That's my role is I gotta always be willing to go all the way through.
Right.
You know, she might tell you to do this or cook for yourself. And if she don't cook, she's so compassionate as a mom, she'll yell at you while she cook. Versus I might go and buy myself something to eat and watch your ass starve. Now we both teaching the same lesson. We just getting about it a different way.
Right.
But my wife is such an old school mom that's just how she is. It don't matter how much you don't piss her off. There's certain things that she can't let you go without, not even to make a point. Versus me, I'll let your ass go without to make a point. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, but man, y'all wasting my time talking about my kids now here. Y'all got me on here looking like some kind of simp. You know what I'm talking about? Nah, man, it's black love, black excellence. Although they will say maybe it ain't black love because my wife is Mexican. But listen, before y'all say this, man, interracial dating is great 'Cause let me tell you something. The vice president is married to a white man.
Hey, I'm surprised she didn't catch more flack for that, but we'll
Yeah.
talk about that another day.
She married to a white man, and her mama is from India, correct?
Right,
Something like that.
And her dad is Jamaican or is he black? I can't remember.
Jamaican.
So listen, don't be hating on the internet. Y'all probably been hating on me for a lifetime, and it ain't never even registered to
You
me.
should be out talking about is he Jamaican or black? He both.
Greg, get out of
There
here,
you
man.
go. There you go. I'm gone.
All
I'll let y'all, man.
right, man.